at the grassroots, you've got to have institutions where people can participate. A town meeting in New England is a popular legislature open to every citizen that, adopts the budget for the town, can pass ordinances, and basically then, almost in a parliamentary way, elects a board of aldermen that then executes what the town decides. That's the kind of democracy we could have, and you could federate from that level up. That was the anarchist answer to the Marxian centralized state.
Right.
Federation. And that's an old principle in this country. The debate then becomes what things have to be rights that are across the federation. And what things do you devolve down to each level. But in the end, the important thing, even with the things you give to the central government, those representatives to that legislative body should ultimately be accountable to the town meetings. So like the Paris Commune in 1871, and this really goes back to the French Revolution in 1789, the commune was the municipality, and the council was accountable to the assemblies in the neighborhoods, the sections they call them in Paris. And so it was a federative structure. And in 1871, they called for a commune of communes, a federation of communes like Paris, where these ward assemblies or citizen assemblies controlled their representatives. They called it the imperative mandate. So they would give instructions, imperative instructions in some cases. And they had to, if an issue wasn't instructed, they had to come back to the assembly to get instructions for how to act at the council. So the power was at the base. Doesn't mean the base has to take up every last issue, but the important issues, they can instruct their representatives and have the right of recall. So, both Marx and Bakunin, or Marx and Kropotkin, Bakunin, Kropotkin, and Marx and Engels, they all wrote how great that structure was in the Paris Commune. Marx and Engels kind of went back and forth. They loved the commune, but sometimes they went back to the centralized state. Mm-hmm. The anarchists are more the federated structure. But I always call myself a libertarian socialist because the anarchists that I knew in the 60s and 70s couldn't organize themselves out of a closet. And a lot of them are very individualistic. They really weren't socialists like the original anarchists. So I thought libertarian socialism was a better term.
So you've studied a lot of these figures, Proudhon, Bakunin, Kropotkin. How have they influenced your own political philosophy?
I think Murray Bookchin, more than any of them, is a synthesis. He knew Marx inside out. He knew Marx better than most Marxists. He read the collected works 3 times. And he had a problem with the centralism. And also in the 60s, the Marxism we got in the New Left was instant Marxist-Leninism, various brands, Castroism, Hoism, Stalinism, Maoism, even Enver Hoxhaism from Romania. Or was it Romania or Bulgaria? Anyway, it was bizarre, and it wasn't speaking American to Americans. So he wrote some polemics, listen Marxist. That was one of the Radical Decentralist Project's pamphlets at that SDS convention. And but as you're trying to get the anarchists organized, I told him when I met him, I'm a libertarian socialist because I don't think the people who call themselves anarchists can organize. By the end of his life, he was using that term to describe his own thing because he ran into the same frustration. And a lot of it became sort of cultural expression. He called it lifestyle anarchism rather than, really trying to change the structure of society. Escapism rather than, social transformation. That's where, Murray went to. And, we had a difference over, one thing he did that the anarchists didn't like is he said we should run for municipal office. And, I said, especially after I moved to New York, we got to run for state office to get a ballot line and president to get ballot lines in some states. And he wanted to radicalize the democracy. What was the slogan? He wanted to take over municipalities and then federate the municipalities as a counterpower to the centralized state. And I, think that's a good approach, but I think even to get on a ballot to run for municipal office in a lot of states, you got to have a ballot line. Plus, I think to get a message to the people, you got to go where the people are, and they're paying more attention to the state and federal elections, and those address issues that concern a lot of people that local elections don't. So we disagreed on that in the end. But getting back to the idea of decentralism, I think this is something it's really hard to bring up in state elections or a presidential election, but I brought it up certainly running locally, is that the Greens should be calling for changes in our city charters to set up citizen assemblies in the neighborhoods or convert a town to a town meeting style of government and, build that citizen assembly. That's what democracy is, ruled by the people. Going back to the Greeks, when you have elected representatives, you have an aristocracy, a minority ruling over the majority.
Right.
And we've lost those distinctions even on the left. And I think, it's something we've got to bring back.